Hello everyone. Wanted to wish you a very Merry Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and all the way through the week. Of course, we're starting with the 25th, Sunday. Yay! Merry Christmas. And we're going through New Year's Eve. So happy New Year's Eve ahead of time too. So anyhow, it looks like the rest, when I look at the charts here, it looks like this week is pretty mellow, except for on the 29th we have Mercury Retrograde that begins. But, you know, that's no big deal. We can handle it. So anyway, without further ado, let me swap out cameras here and get these charts going for you. Hold on. Okay, so I think I have all of them highlighted that will be lasting. Oh wait, I missed this one right here. Saturn to Eris, that will be lasting all week and beyond. But let's first talk about Eris for a moment, because I've previously been leaving her off of the chart calculations because it takes 566 years for her to get around the zodiac, which is twice as long as it takes Pluto. But on reading up with her, I decided, because she represents the feminine warrior, the divine feminine warrior. Now, everyone, no matter whether you're, however you identify, whether you're male or female, we all have a divine masculine and a divine feminine. At least that's what I believe. And in the spirit world, there is no separation between the two. There's just, and when I say divine masculine, I mean our consciousness that directs energy. And then when I say divine feminine, I mean the energy, the receptive energy that takes that consciousness and moves it somewhere. Doesn't mean one's more powerful than the other. But when we're looking at Eris, she's been in Aries my whole life, and she will be way beyond. And so I thought, why bother with it? But the truth is, because of this, here's one I should have left in. This is more than all week. This Pluto, and that's the most important piece right there. For Pluto to be squaring Eris is what, and I'm going to highlight it in a big thick line because we have the other planets involved this week. But especially for Pluto to be squaring Eris, that's been happening for a very long time. So Pluto in Capricorn is that governmental control, plutocratic types, or plutocracy, I guess is the right way to say that. It is possibly a misuse of power. It brings in intensity, and it brings in also, karma and the transformation. And the feminine, the women, the reason I really want to highlight this little message here now with Eris is that she's the planet, or the dwarf planet like Pluto, but they're about the same size, she's just a little smaller, that represents that we're not taking it anymore. We will create laws, and this is the sextile to Saturn. We will create laws that will support humanity. and if that's not good enough, we can look at Eris. There's a couple of things going on here. So we can look at Uranus and the opposition to the South Node, and Saturn in the sextile to Eris, bringing in more opportunities for protection, for safety, most of all. But when you look at all of it, okay, so Uranus rules science. The planet Uranus rules all science, as well as so scientific ideas, scientific, bringing things down into the earthly plane with Saturn, and Aquarius. So Uranus rules Aquarius here. We're talking, when we blend all these energies, and this awesome, I love this. Not only the North Node, but because of the, this pen's finally running out. It's usually two too messy. But anyway, this opposition here, remember for a long time I've been saying, oppositions lead to breakthroughs. Well, and remember I've been saying that Uranus in Taurus should bring in some scientific breakthroughs that are geared towards safety. This is the invention of fusion energy. No carbon footprint. It's safe. We're not using plutonium or uranium or anything that can blow up or cause problems. But of course, it's just the first try. It could be a few decades before it's put into commercial use. But this is the beginning of it. Probably long after I'm dead and gone, someone might hear this and go, "Oh, dang." And I'm not the only astrologer talking this way either, I'm sure. So this is long term. This transit has been, going on for the last year, and this will go out of orb in a while. It's going to be, quite a little bit of time. The nodes, I think, will be, yeah, that's right, it's July. I think it's the end of July before the Taurus-Scorpio axis changes. So, and then it'll move, of course, towards Aries and Libra, because they go backwards. So, anywho, or I should say, this way, yeah. It's all our relationship to Earth, so it's a mirror image, but the nodes of the moon correlate. So anyway, the transit here on a personal level, besides, the scientific breakthroughs that we can plan on, coming into fruition, part of that is, so the Saturn to Eris, but also Neptune. Here we go with Neptune, holding that vision and that opportunity, and then to create. And see how Neptune's at 22, and then Mercury right here is at 23. That right there is a tight, this is going to be in all week, because what's going to happen is Mercury will start retrograding backwards. So we have this opportunity here for quite a little bit of time to hold on to our visions, hold on to what we believe in. But we need to gather, with it being with Mercury getting ready to retrograde, and Mercury being in Capricorn, it's all about, just the facts. And we could say just the facts, ma'am, because ma'am's right here with Venus in Capricorn. She wants unification, she wants harmony, she wants things that are solid. She doesn't want you just talking trash or talking about, oh yeah, well we could do this, I think about that. Well, but can you, is the thing. And will you, you can talk about it, but will you actually do it? Or are you just, as my youngest son used to say to me, Mom, are you trying to blow sunshine up my house again? Oh God. It's like, that's the difference between a Sun conjunct Jupiter in Cancer and a Sun conjunct, or no, Sun just on its own in Capricorn. He doesn't have any planet conjunct his Sun, actually. So he was wanting just the facts, and I was like, well, but you know what? And then later on in life, he's like, oh, dang, it actually works, when we were talking about astrology, right? So... So Neptune and Uranus can kind of have us sometimes in that place of like, well, is this real or is it just illusion? Well, some scientists decided to keep trying and trying and trying to create free energy. And now that fossil fuels, the oil industry is not as powerful as it was, and it will become less and less powerful as time goes by, because Pluto in Capricorn it's on its way towards towards Aquarius. It'll be quite some time. Wait, hold on. Where are my little notes again? Oh, there. Okay. It won't enter Aquarius until March 2023. Here's a little thing if you want to snapshot this. I'll hold it still. But it's just for a little blip into, next spring. And then it'll retrograde back into Capricorn. And then gets into Aquarius on January 21st, 2024, right? And you can see how it goes back, and then we don't have it staying in Aquarius until November 19th, 2024. So that's a good amount of time away, right? But what that means with Pluto in Aquarius is that power in the power of science, the power of thinking outside the box, the power of new original ideas, and hopefully it will be the power of humanity versus, with the tolerance that's needed in Aquarius, which is what Aquarius is all about usually. And the moon in Aquarius with the trine to Mars, I'm not going to say a lot about that because everything I'm saying here is brought on by the moon as well. The moon in Aquarius. Everything I'm saying now is might as well just say, let's talk about the moon in Aquarius. Okay, so again, we want to move towards tolerance, but sometimes people are very bigoted. And the moon will oftentimes reveal who those people are. And those people, so I'm going to speak to Pluto and Capricorn, and the dark side of Saturn in Aquarius, which is no longer retrograde, so it's moving forward, and pretty soon it'll get into Pisces, and there won't be a retrograde back into Aquarius, so once it gets into Pisces, it will stay in Pisces. And yeah, so there's that. But what that means is that this is a very important juncture that we're going through, a very important transit where the power of needing to honor all living things, all species of life, and create humanitarian laws that stick, and the end of power over people. It's been with this with this journey of Pluto and Capricorn, we have watched since 2008, we have watched people not care about, we've watched politicians and people that say they're in power or think they're in power because of money, but they're not really. They're just putting their profits ahead of the people. The other night I watched Margin Call. I watched The Big Short years ago. I think I had to watch it 3 times because there was so much information coming through. And I remember going through, the market crash in 2008 and, remember all the credit default swaps, all the things. It's like the abuse of the banks. That's when we had Pluto and Capricorn, yeah. And even when Pluto was in Sag, it's like the abuse of insurance companies. But banks, insurance companies, it can all be the same thing. They're in it for money, and they care more about the money than the people. And so Margin Call was a good movie to understand. It was Lehman Brothers that started the big. They just went in. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say, because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to. I don't want the spoiler alert. And they never say during the movie that it was Lehman Brothers, but it was. Because I remember who the first company that fell was. So anyhow, it's a pretty good movie. And the other one I watched was The Firm, because there was that line in there where they were going to get the bad guys, and took how hard it was, and just the dirty politicians, and the just how challenging it was to get people to, or to get to justice, to get to justice. And of course, it turned out it was mail fraud that they got him for. And the line that Tom Cruise said was like, "Yeah, it's not sexy, but it has teeth." Like, yeah, okay. So anyway, those two movies to me speak to the process of Pluto moving through the sign of Capricorn, and now we're just about out of it. I mean, we're not out of even the retro shade yet. That won't complete until I think the beginning of next year, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's pretty much at the end of January. A lot of things really start happening. So this week is quieter, but it's really powerful. It's deeply powerful. And you can see this stellium up here in Capricorn, all 4 planets here. Last week we even had the moon in Capricorn, but all 3 right here. That's a whole lot of manifesting power. It's a whole lot of hard work, responsibility, divine timing, if you're in it. It's, the synchronicity. And then basically your sense of duty to move towards what it is that you really want. And that's especially on the table today for Sunday, on Christmas Day, where the moon up here, the moon to Mars. So Mars in Gemini, especially retrograde, is asking you, what do you really want and how are you going to get it? It motivates you to really understand what it is that you want. And then the moon helps to connect the dots and think outside the box, right? Think of what's the big picture here? Aquarius is so good about looking at something outside of the box. And does it work is the thing. With the Capricorn energy, it's going to be, can it work, right? It's like, can it work? And you learn about it. And then the possibility of thinking outside the box with Aquarius, with the moon traveling through Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius, and the moon's headed towards Saturn, where we're going to find out whether it works or not. But meanwhile, the stellium in Capricorn here is saying, okay, well, we have to apply what we've learned. We have to have it's like basically being taught a math formula, but you have to write it down and work it through on paper and go, oh, yeah, I see it, right? Or someone teaches you how to do something or tells you how to do something, but until you actually go through the steps yourself and work it through, it's just kind of out there. It's kind of an illusion. It's kind of, it's not as tangible. So with the moon moving towards Saturn, we can expect some tangible results. Now, let's see, and I'll get into some other things about Pluto and Venus soon, but for now, the thing that I really want to focus or hone in on here is Neptune sextile Mercury. Okay, so Mercury, remember, is the way we communicate. It's our new ideas. It's the way we learn. It's how we connect the dots. It's how we define things. The nomenclature of anything, right? That's a very Gemini, that's the consciousness and energy of Gemini. It's also very, very Mercury to be, because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. It's a very mercurial. It's mercurial. It's not Mercurian. What the heck, man? There she goes again. It's very mercurial to negotiate with people. But you have to find out what they really want and what they're really made of. So if you have anyone in your life promising you the world because they want something from you, you have to be careful with that with Capricorn, right? With Capricorn, we can be sometimes with a narcissistic little bit of it can be covert narcissism, or we don't really know. But it's basically, a little bit of giving to get, and probably every human is probably every human is capable of that, whether they mean to or not. It's done unconsciously quite a bit. In the way to work with that energy is just to step back and go, oh, wait a minute, what's my part in this, or what is it that I would have to give, and do I really want to, or would I be giving myself away? Would I be submitting, or is this an opportunity to stand up and say no, or I don't know and I'll think about it. That's the sextile to Neptune. We have opportunities abound here, with now on another level with all things creative, and the ideas to the ability and the ideas and the ways to put things, to implement and put them into actual physical form, to create something solid out of something that was very nebulous and just coming from the spirit world. And it can be something fantastic, and then it could be just something that literally dissolves because the person who said that they would do the person who promised to do something just kind of fizzles out. There's that possibility too. So opportunities are great, but be careful of the square here. So see how we have Jupiter. Jupiter in Aries wants to move forward, and sometimes because of Aries energy, it doesn't. It may not. We may not think. We may just go, right? Because Aries moves. It's ruled by Mars, and Jupiter rules Sag. But Aries is another fire sign, but it's square the Sun. This might be a good square. We talked about it last week, where, again, the question has to do with, can we do it? Do we want to do it? Do we want that work? Do we want, bottom line, that responsibility? And that's the question. That's the tension field that square brings in. And it's not a bad thing at all. Because if you really want it and you're willing to work for it, you will eventually bring it in. So if that's the case, this will turn into a strength for you. And now the sun is shining a spotlight on all things possible with these two bodies here. So that's fantastic. And then when it comes to, so now I'm going to focus in on Chiron, because this is all week long, okay? To the South Node. This is what I was talking about last week, when it was remember how we had that yod that lasted for 2 weeks, and this was part of it? This is one leg of it. We still have this all week, where Chiron is in conjunct. So it's kind of uncomfortable. It creates tension. These two don't often think the same way, Aries to Scorpio. Scorpio just goes, and Aries just goes, and Scorpio wants to think about how to do it maybe more deeply, in a way that creates something more powerful. Scorpio often wants to go very deep, but also has the fear of betrayal. And, excuse me, Chiron in Aries over here could be still working through the fears of abandonment. Hold on, I need to get some water. Just a second. Okay, that's better. So Chiron wants to, Scorpio wants to go deep. Aries wants to just move forward, but might not be consciously thinking it through. But if we can use the gifts of Aries, that would bring us into dropping into our presence, into being very present in the moment. As long as we have worked on and are working deeply to heal our abandonment issues and our impulsiveness, and we can let go of needing to win or need to be first, and to let go of any old pains of feeling left out. As long as we don't leave ourselves out, and as long as we matter to ourselves, and as long as we believe in ourselves, then we can be very courageous and daring, and we can be trailblazing, and we can create win-win situations because of the wisdom of the past. But if we're still in the fear of betrayal and somebody's coming at us that you don't think is going to stick around, then this will get triggered, right? So this is still here. We have this transit lasting all week. This is that one leg, of the finger of fate. The one from Mars is gone. The sextile to Mars, I think, hold on, I didn't look. Does this last all week? Let me look at the last day here. No, it's gone. Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, we have it. Oops. Do we have it through Thursday? Got the Mercury retrograde charts in here. Sorry, you guys. We have it Thursday. That's when Mercury goes direct, but it's gone by Friday. So we do have it for 4 days. Okay, and that's right here. Chiron, sextile, Mars. So the sextile there creates the opportunity to learn new things about our wounding, to learn new things and create new mantras when we turn around the pattern of wounding, because we don't need to stay stuck in the past. We don't need to keep seething in our resentments and our judgments and our, intimacy issues, basically. And we certainly do not need to create crisis anymore. But if a person's a dirty politician and they're still working in all those ways to try and hide, all the subterfuge and obfuscation about the things they've done in the past, I don't see things working out well for them in the future, because we're so geared towards the truth. We're so geared towards moving forward in ways that support everyone, rather than just the privileged few that get all the bucks. Just seriously, watch that movie Margin Call and watch how they handled the situation. And that movie was back in 2011, but it was 3 years after, it didn't come out until 3 years after the 2008 recession began. But that movie will stick with you as to, if you follow all the details and the plans, and the Jeremy Irons, the head of the company, and the way he thought and what he did and what all those guys did. Whew, that shows you that. And when you watch the movie, just remember that is the dark side of Pluto and Capricorn. So we're moving out of that. And if those people aren't coming along, they're going to have some very challenging experiences. They might make away with all, or well, not all, but a lot of the money, but then it sets them up into a trajectory of karma that's, that will definitely be experienced someday in some lifetime. Okay. What else? Oh, I'm seeing this trine. So, yeah, okay. I like this, actually. So the trine up here, oops, can't draw a straight line, to Venus. So notice how Venus is there at 19, and then Uranus is here at 15. Okay. That's a very tight trine. We could kind of include the North Node. But these energies go together really well. So Taurus goes very well with Capricorn because they're both earth signs. But to have Venus in Capricorn is kind of like putting Venus and Saturn together. And we're talking solid relationships. And then if we add in the flavor of Uranus and Taurus, it's relationships that are based in bliss and happiness and safety and security. Taurus only wants, and it's the same thing with Capricorn too. They're signs that are commitment oriented, and they don't like being in relationships that are flaky and flounder and flop around all over the place. And because it's a waste of time, because Capricorn doesn't want to invest in it, and Taurus, Taurus is like, I need faithfulness, right? I don't want to be pushed and rushed, and I want to be safe and secure. And then from there, if I have that, I can open up to the deep intensity of a very trustworthy relationship where you can continue to grow, right? Like the best relationships are between people who have the commitment to grow. Whether or not they were together, they would still be growing. And they're committed to the truth, and they're committed to dropping their pretenses and masks and, falsities. I know that sounds redundant, but that's the deal. That's the way it works if you want healthy relationships. And there's so much about healthy relationships and partnerships that just keeps coming through. So let's go ahead and go forward for into Monday. And you'll notice the moon has moved together right here with so the moon, notice how the moon's at 19 here, and it's square Uranus, okay? And it's conjunct Saturn. So now we're talking serious. Things are now very serious, okay? So don't get depressed if the things that you've been wanting haven't come to fruition yet. And especially don't get depressed if people you wanted to see for the holidays got stuck in a winter storm. If you focus on what matters most, which is safety, then that's the best way to go. But remember, the moon has this ability to help us connect and to help us, feel. It needs to connect, actually. It needs to attach to something, and it needs to respond. But it also nurtures, and it also is very intuitive. So intuition could grow in thinking outside the box. Also, intuition could, because if this has nothing to do with family and you traveling or them traveling to you, this could actually be an awareness of maybe someone who would kind of hold you back in relationship. And so now you're thinking about, oh, do I want that? Because Uranus, above all, wants freedom. And, we only have freedom to the degree that we're self-responsible. So it depends on, what you're really wanting and what kind of a relationship that you're really wanting. So all the other aspects you can see are the same, like the Saturn to Eris. That's that same question about freedom and equality and creating laws where everyone is more safe than ever before, and that's going to continue to change over the years more and more towards more safety. And then Jupiter's still squaring the sun, so everything I talked about earlier is still there. Venus, Mercury, and Pluto still are squaring Eris, so everything again. But it's getting tighter and tighter. Now, Mercury's going to keep, Venus is going to keep plowing towards Pluto. Mercury's going to go retrograde and start going back this way. So there's going to be a dance between these two. I'll talk about that when we get there. You can see Chiron is still in conjunct to the South Node. So everything I talked about there is still the same. The Sun is still trining Uranus, shining a spotlight as to the hard work and duty to yourself, the self-responsibility that it takes in order to have your freedom and nurture your own individuation. And then, of course, like I said, the moon squaring Uranus will help you to wake up to who and in what situations won't get you where you want to go. So I see that as actually really, very, very enlightening. Now, with Neptune sextile Venus, this is beautiful because, here, let me highlight that real quick, because I don't think I dove into that as clearly. I was focusing on Mercury, but let's focus on Venus to this this sextile here. So remember, sextiles, and Mercury's in there too, so we're thinking about it, but Venus really wants harmony. It wants safety, security, and harmony. It's a lot like Taurus, but it's bigger, and it rules Taurus. One's a sign, the other one's a planet. Of course, the planet's bigger. It's holding the energy and consciousness of manifesting unity and harmony, manifesting all things that we value the most. It's manifesting our ability to get what we want, to make comparisons about, this versus that, and go with, yeah, I think it's this one I want. And then you work hard towards that. And a lot of it can come through inspiration from dream times or meditation, dreamtime or meditations, I meant to say. And then also remember that Venus is personal love, like the, human experience of love, where Neptune is spiritual love that's always there for us to create whatever it is that we want to plant those seeds of consciousness in. Shoot, you know what? That reminds me. The other day, I don't think it's released yet. I think it's, oh good, I still have the cards here. Here we go. These were the 3 cards that I got for the daily tarot reading. And so they're, for some reason or another, they're binging in my head. So here we go. This card's ruled by Venus and Taurus. This card's ruled by Saturn. Is it Saturn and Leo? Hold on, I have to look. Can't remember. Hold on. I have my old deck here that's... but it's very, this. Just think of Capricorn there, Capricorn and growth. Let me get back here to my Pentacles, 8, 7. No, Saturn and Taurus. Okay, so that brings in, right, the seeds that are planted would be Taurus, and then the Saturnian energy. It's like, here we have Venus, right, and Capricorn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. And then we have the star, which is ruled by Uranus. And there was something about drawing these 3 cards that was just mind-blowing to me, because it's all about creating and gestating what new thing you want. And then, nurturing and planting. So you plant the seeds, you have to water things, you have to give it sunlight, you have to pull the roots out, or the weeds out to keep the roots healthy. And then to remember that everything is already there for you in the spirit world. It's just about you bringing it down and having it. But sitting in the having it, like knowing you're pregnant with it, and it will be born, right? Not all things will be born, but, something will be born. So what are you going to keep working on? What do you really, really want so badly or so much that you're willing to do the work, and you're willing to meditate on it every day, and you're willing to be with it and bring it in. So that is primarily what I'm seeing with this stellium of Capricorn here and Uranus and Taurus, because it's very earthly, bringing things home. And then again with the moon and Saturn there, the ability to think outside the box and go for more and more of what you want. Let's see. And then, with another little bing here on a Saturn sextile Eris, could be that feminine power, knowing that you can, hold on, where's the card? You can conceive of just about anything that you believe, right? Yeah. So, what else? With this, let's see. Venus is still trining Uranus, well, and that just reinforces what I just said there, and those cards. Okay. And the North Node is trining the Sun, so the Sun is shining the light here to remind us that we can go in the direction of the things that the things that matter to us most. I think the sun in Capricorn will be helping us remember. It will be reminding us that we can manifest, we do have power, and then that will help us on our path. That will help enlighten us here with Uranus as to our path in life with the North Node. And again, because it's opposing the South Node, we are reminded that we have all that wisdom from the past. All the past lives. All right? Okay. Oh, there's also this double semi-square here. So the Moon and Saturn are in this semi-square to the Sun, which means action's going to need to be taken in order to go towards what you want. Yeah, but just keep your eye on the prize. Okay, so let's go to Tuesday. Let's see. Everything's the same there. We have the Moon. Okay, so everything that I said before still applies, of course. There's not a big change, except you can see the Moon's in Pisces. So dreamy Pisces, it's really beautiful for dream time and for watching movies and having fun and music and mysticism and art and anything you want to devote yourself to. But it's squaring Mars, and Mars is in a sesquisquare. Hold on, 9 degrees to, it's got to be Venus here. Yeah. The sesquisquare is not that big a deal. It's just that it could be a little stubborn. But Venus to Mars is like, well, I want to watch this movie. No, I want to watch out. No, it's not. It's my turn. Give me the remote, damn it. It could be stuff like that. Just simple stuff like that, because it's only the Moon. I mean, and when I say only the Moon's very important, but the Moon moves quickly, right? Mars is going retrograde still. Remember, it's going to retrograde back to 8 degrees. So I think the Moon is giving us a little glimpse in Pisces of where we could be challenged to not just submit, and I'm seeing this as a good stubborn, because Venus and Capricorn wants what it wants, right? And it wants to have. We're talking possess. And that's especially true with Uranus to the South Node here. Mars in Gemini, no less, is on the other side going, think about it. You want to fight me on this, right? Remember, Gemini will help you learn something. Gemini sometimes is like that youthful kid that's in duality that's like, yeah, but you did that, and why? And what? It's always why. And that's okay. We don't need the arbitrary authority that just says all the time, well, because I said so. No kid wants to hear that. And no adult wants to, I'm just using the ridiculous analogy of the remote, but no adult wants just one adult, or there are no adults in a home of adults that wants just one adult to have power over the remote, right? I mean, nobody's going to like that. Unless, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is someone out there that says, oh, I can't even flip through all the channels without wasting 2 hours and trying to figure out what I want to watch, right? It's like, it wouldn't fly in my house, but, go ahead and try it. Or unless it's like, an adult or almost adult teenager and you're not worried about what they watch anymore. It's like, yeah, hey, go for it. And you don't subscribe to those channels anyway that you're going to worry about. So there's that. But back to stubbornness and a new idea and Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde, especially in Gemini, can have a person just go, just talking, just da 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 da. You say one thing that's solid, and then they have the argument of something else, just to be contrary. That's the dark side of Gemini, is just to be contrary. To say something just to create conflict. And that happens with people because that's what they learned in their childhood, was that I got attention if I could get attention through the contrariness. The worst thing probably for them would have been to have somebody not listen to what they were saying, not pay attention, and not respond. So they don't mind conflict, and they don't mind arguments at all. But maybe with Venus and Capricorn, you're kind of tired of that. And maybe with the moon square Mars, you definitely don't want any of that, because the moon in Pisces really wants to relax, really wants to be in bliss, and is very empathic and has a lot of compassion for someone spinning in a lot of mental, like if you have a friend that's in some level of anxiety and spinning up in their head, you might be the friend that can say, well, what if we just take a deep breath and just let go? Like everything's okay right now. And let's just be in the okay for a bit. Right? So the other thing I'm zoned in on here is that beautiful trine up to the south node. And you can see the south node's at 11. The moon is approaching 11 degrees because the moon's going to go this way, and then it will be an exact trine. And so this is coming in early in the morning on Tuesday, where there's probably, I'm thinking this is just one of, not just, it's another one of those excellent opportunities to pay attention to dream time, because there could be some deep awareness that comes up. Now also, Scorpio likes to invest in things, likes to go deeper, likes to figure out how things work, and we have wisdom from our past lives when it comes to relationships and creativity and all things beautiful, of what works and what doesn't. Or maybe we had a lifetime where we were working on that and we got either sidetracked or unable to complete it before we crossed over. So we can have opportunities to go, to go back in time and go, oh yeah, there's like that deja vu type of feeling, and then we have the moon in beautiful Pisces that can help us bring something through. But it won't help if we're up in our head questioning, like, does that dream matter? Did what came through, what was it that came through in the dream, can I trust? What if you trusted? What if you trusted your spidey senses here, right? And what if you just let go of your monkey mind here? We all have a monkey mind, right? What if we just took the deep breath, let go, drop into the Taurus energy, drop into all the Capricorn energy, and bring through the wisdom of the past. And it doesn't mean you have to produce anything tangible. It just means that now you know something. And if you trust that deep knowing, there you go. It's self-doubt that's one of the hardest things to break out of. And it's also a real form of negativity to work through and to get past. So another thing I'm seeing here is, because Mars has scooched back a little bit, we've got that sextile going on with Chiron, which is good. Now, this is good for healing, and that aspect is still, this is all week. But I don't know if you guys can see it very clearly from where you are, from your vantage point, but we have a semi-square here with Mars to Eris. So remember, Eris is just going to sit there because she just doesn't move. She sits there, and she's the spiritual warrior that fights for truth, fights for your own autonomy, fights for your courage. She holds space for you to find your courage and be in it. She fights for your unique individual self. And then, of course, with Jupiter there squaring the Sun, that's going on all week. But this is going to create the need for some action. And then with Jupiter here, with the same aspect to Uranus, there's the need for action there too. So if we want to move ahead with Jupiter and Aries, we need to be thinking outside the box, but moving towards our safety and not impulsive. There's action here. There's friction here. Action needs to be taken, but it doesn't have to be in any way that makes us safe. I think it's best to, this is where we can have the mind kick up a new idea in a beautiful way that can be helpful. But as long as it's something that helps you in your own autonomy and something that helps you expand in a way that is safe. Okay, it's not there's a lot of energy here that could help someone get into a fight. Maybe it's over the remote. I would just say, don't throw the remote across the room or hit anybody over the head with it, or take it and run. And now nobody gets to watch TV. No, the way maybe if you can work with that energy, is I'm going to buy my own damn TV. And I'm going to hook it up in my own room, or the spare room, or, I'm going to throw a flat screen in the garage. I don't know. I'm being silly. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot around. Who's the boss? And can you be the boss of your own life without getting yourself hurt or killing someone else, right? Bottom line, we got to be smart here. And when it comes to creative projects, I think you're going to be thinking in those terms. We have so many aspects here that speak to the courage to move forward, and especially even with the Saturn here is so there's two of them. We have the moon in a semi-square. Boy, we have a lot of semi-squares today. Wow. The moon semi-square Venus, and then Saturn in the semi-square to, that's going up to the sun. Yeah, right, 21 to 5. That's right. Okay. So the sun shining light on the limitations of somebody wanting to control, someone with no tolerance, and there's action needed there. Okay, so maybe there's something politically that comes out. Thank goodness they did vote to get the. I was kind of concerned about that, but it did. To keep the government open through, I think, to like next September was a big omnibus bill they were fighting over. So, but I think that's all going to be just fine for now. Let's see. So the sun to Saturn, yeah. Action being taken for humanity. This could be, but I think it'll happen before Tuesday. This could be Biden signing, the bill, so it's done. But then with Venus in the semi-square to the moon in Pisces, again, so Venus in Capricorn that definitely wants things to be solid, wants somebody to take responsibility for what they said they were going to do. But with the moon in Pisces, somebody could flake out And then Venus is left to go, okay, well, I guess if I want it done, I got to do it myself. It can be that. It could also be using your artistic talents to actually create something beautiful. I like that. Let's see, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, we're good there. Okay. So Wednesday, notice the Venus and Mercury and Pluto are now very close together, very tight orb. And of course, we still have all those squares to Eris. That's just the way it's going to be. Pluto is going to stay in this tight orb for quite some time. And Mercury and Venus, of course, will move on. But for a while, they're there together. And I think that the reason that they're there together is because women need to have more of a vote, more of a voice, and women need to own up to their power, right? We're talking, the feminine strength here that knows. I mean, back in the old days, matriarchy, they communicated. They knew how to make things run smoothly. This could be like the end of the patriarchy as we know it, and especially because women are talking more and more, and it's not only us older women and the men that are in touch with their wisdom, their feminine wisdom. It's not only all of us that have lived through so much and now know the right way to go and to see the pitfalls of how the patriarchal society works and how it doesn't work, right? I mean, we know what they do to try and keep control, and we also know how it's the downfall of all of society if we let that happen. So we've got the warrior here, and now with Mercury and Venus, look at that, 24 to 23 degrees, just talking and listening and making solid plans that are extremely powerful. And that's, and then the square, we have also the sun right here at 6 degrees in the square here to Chiron. Okay. And Jupiter's no longer, well, it's that tight orb. Yeah, that's gone. But, then this is the other Venus square to Eris. So the sun square Chiron. So the sun in Capricorn, remember, is going to be the need to take responsibility. And if you're someone who's still experiencing a relationship with someone who's trying to control you, and they're pulling their demands on you or their neediness on you, there's going to be a battle with this square here. Manipulation could happen with this, right? Because we're talking two cardinal energies here. The cardinal forces, remember, are Aries, and because they bring in the seasons, they create movement. Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So this Aries square to Capricorn brings in that flavor of, I want what I want, and I want you to give it to me. Or, up here with the sun in Capricorn, we're seeing who the controlling person is that is trying to make this person over here that's younger do what they want. So it could go either way. It's right there. The sun is in the semi-square to Saturn. So again, Saturn rules Capricorn. We need to think outside the box. Action's going to need to be taken because the light is we're seeing what's going on. It could also be, again, more winter weather travel issues where action's going to need to be taken. in order to have the safety that's needed. We don't want to create any crisis, with the South Node in Scorpio. We don't want any crisis. We need safety. Uranus is still retrograde. And, it's all about safety. Remember, primarily, safety and self-preservation when Uranus is in Taurus. So, let's see. Yeah. The moon's now snuggling up to Neptune. So this is, my goodness, it's like how much more beautiful can that be when it comes to, if you're in the winter area, this can be a wonderful time for just, snuggling up by the fire and having deep, intimate connections with people that you trust, and going even deeper and being even happier. This is all beautiful fireside, reading books, watching movies, and connecting with those that you love type of energy. And especially with the sun trining the North Node, it's like, oh, well, now you know who your tribe is. Now you know who those people are that you trust. And you keep going with them. Because there's something solid there. There's solid relationship potential there. Now we also have an inconjunct. So the inconjunct from Chiron to the South Node, that's been all week, and that's even beyond this week. But anyway, we have the inconjunct. So remember, when I say inconjunct or quincunx, that's the need for adjustment from the Sun to Mars. Mars wants to talk. Mars in Gemini wants to talk. The Sun in Capricorn, for this morning at least, might want silence, might not want all the noise. And maybe this is conversations like, well, what are we going to do for New Year's? And maybe on the other side of it is like, why do we have to do anything? What if we just stay home? What if we just stay home and be safe? Maybe it's amateur hour out there, for people like to go. I mean, it's probably one of the most dangerous times of the world to go out, to go drive somewhere, right? New Year's Eve. So I'm thinking this looks quiet to me, and it's a quiet time of the year too. I mean, just to get through the holidays just to get through the, family holidays is enough. And then to add partying into it, I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing it because of the weather, because we have some crazy weather going on. Let's see, is there anything else? We have, I forgot, of course, the aspect to the architect here. Solid relationships that can be built, solid creative projects that can be hatched, or I'm sorry, maybe a better word would be, well, it could be hatched, but a better word might be conceived. This beautiful creative energy here. And also dream time meditation ideas coming through that can help you become even more independent and create new ways to make money with Uranus and Taurus. You might invent a project or a product or your own unique way of putting yourself out in the world. Or it could be that you hatch a plan. Yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes I need to just trust the words that are coming out. Hatch a plan in order to prepare for the future. And it might not be that you put it out yet, but you're absolutely, because we still have those semi-squares here, you're absolutely thinking about it and working it through. Like, can I do it? How can I do it? Should I do it? Oh, but I want to. Do I have it in me? My experience has been just just start. Like, get the plan together first. I've never been, even though I have an Aries moon and an Aries ascendant, I've never, well, I take that back. Never say never, but there's been very few times in my life where I just jumped in and did something. And I did those because people asked me, and they did turn out to be good. Like when I started teaching aerobics, it was because my aerobics instructor got sick, and she calls and says, "You have to come teach my class." I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. Come to my house, I'll give you music. I'm like, but you're sick. I don't want to come to your house. I'll put it on the porch. All right. It went like that. And that started a career for me that lasted almost 20 years. So you never know. If you trust your spontaneity, if you trust your real spontaneous, love that's coming out of you, I would say probably is the best way to go. But for the most part, if you're going to launch something big, you have to have it planned out. You have to, it's like you could just start writing a book, but then at some point you're going to have to create chapters and you're going to have to organize it. So it could often be that organizing a solid plan, but then letting your spirit help you with it, right? Because you've done it before in the past. You're just going to do it in a brand new way in this lifetime. So, okay, so let's go ahead. And now you can see Thursday morning, very early, 1:32 a.m. Pacific, we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, 24 degrees Capricorn. So Mercury retrograde to me is just nothing to worry about. I was born with Mercury retrograde. It just means that, it takes us longer to find our voice. We're more introverted until we're about 30, until it goes direct by progression. But there's 30% of us that are, I'm sorry, a third, so 33%, 33.33% of us that are born during Mercury retrograde. And it comes every 3 to 4 months, lasts about 3 weeks. So I have the direct chart under this one. I'll show you that next. So everything that I said is the same, holding the like backspace, if that's even the right word, background space for Mercury retrograde. The moon's in Pisces that early, in the morning, but it's 29 degrees. It's going to soon move into Aries. And then there's that cardinal energy. As the moon moves, there's going to be more of a square to all these Capricorn planets up here. But, so, I think the important thing would be to focus in on, let's see, 24, 29. No, that's coming out of orb, though. It's too, yeah. No, I'm not even going to bother with that because the moon's moving out of Pisces so quickly. It only needs about another half an hour to get into Aries. And then, yeah. So this sextile is just a Pluto. That's all week. That's the backdrop. So let's just focus. I'll just focus only in on Mercury retrograde for this time being. So Mercury, remember, is the way we think. It's the way we negotiate with others. It helps us to find patterns. It helps us to connect the dots. So everything that I talked about before is now, at this point, we're going to be going, because it's retrograde, just think of retrograde meaning inward. We're going to be going inward, and we're going to be reviewing. We're going to be reviewing our power and what we want to manifest, and we're going to be talking about what we want to manifest, Capricorn. We're going to be negotiating how we can manifest what we want to manifest. Maybe we're not putting it out there yet. Maybe we're negotiating with ourselves. Maybe our higher self is trying to say, hey, but what about this? Oh, you could do that. Oh, look over here. Wait, what? What do you really want? Type of a thing. And then your monkey mind or your smaller part of yourself, your unhealthy ego is saying, oh, I can't do that. Oh no, not me. No, they would never give me that job. They would never give me that raise. I couldn't do that. But then there's this other part of you, this bigger part of you that's like, but you could, right? But do you really want it? So these are the questions for this 3.5 weeks. From December 29th until January 18th, but then it still has to get out of the retro shadow on February 7th. But those few weeks, we have this time to manifest first on the inner levels, like remember those cards. First on the inner levels, nurturing the seeds that you've planted, and then bringing it down home through you, birthed onto the earth. Okay, that's what's going on here. So retrograde means everything with an R. Review, redo, renew, reevaluate, reinvent, and then add the flavor of Capricorn, and it's like what you want to manifest, what you care about, what you want to actually do. Like years ago, I had a friend who wanted to open up a feng shui business, but he wanted it not. He liked to go into people's homes and doing the feng shui thing, but it was more he wanted to sell the products, like the remedies or whatever. Some of it I felt was pretty superstitious. It's like, no, when I flush the toilet, my chi does not go down the toilet. I'm sorry. But, he wanted to sell the bottom line is the story was that he had a moon in Capricorn. He wanted to sell the products, but he wanted to control all the nuts and bolts in the running of the business. And it turned out to be like that was the best way for him to do it, to set it all up. And then later on, he was smart enough to start delegating, so that he could grow the business. But that's just one example. So with Mercury retrograde here, it's going to go, and notice it, 24 degrees, it's tied into Venus. So we're starting off this 3-week process, or 3.5 weeks or so, process of talking to yourself about what you want, talking to yourself and your trusted others that support you in listening. I wouldn't give away ideas, or I wouldn't talk to people who would say anything negative about your ideas and try to put you down, or oh, that's silly, things like that. Let that go. Don't talk to those kind of people, because this is precious time. This is a very precious time to try and manifest something that you will have great opportunity over the next few months to bring out into the world, and then something that can live on for a very long time, because it's going to get better and better. All of us who've been doing the healing work, it's going to get better and better for us. All of us who are willing to step into their creative space and work on it every day, it's going to get better and better. All of us who are supporting each other in their, and supporting, when I say support, I don't mean that you have to do anything other than applaud them, be happy that they're stepping into their creativity, never put them down, never say, oh, that's not the way to do it, whatever. Maybe support with like timing, things like that. Sometimes we need support that way, like that can be a thing, because sometimes things need to happen first in order to create what is needed, which is a very strong, stable foundation. Think of Cancer as being the home, so the polar opposite of Capricorn, because remember, I always work in the polarities. the polar opposite of Capricorn is Cancer. Cancer's the home, but you don't have a stable home without a solid foundation, and that's what Capricorn's about. So because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, again, we're talking physical form. So what are the things that we can do, or what is it that we want to put out there? What are the things that we can do to start working on creating that stable foundation? You know, you have to build the foundation before you can put the walls up, you know, and you have to have everything in and under the foundation before you even want to like seal it up, right? Or lay anything on top of it. Yeah. So Uranus, it can indicate and notice that beautiful trine that's happening. So that during this whole period, even though the sun will keep moving forward, just know that this whole period here has the quality of the sun shining in ways to manifest that can create big breakthroughs in your life. And there's that easy flow of energy to do it and to help you move forward in your life in a way that supports your individual uniqueness, your individuation, and your uniqueness. So that's really beautiful. Mercury and Venus are in this sesquisquare here down to Mars. So again, that's that place of being very careful about all talk and no action. But hold on to your vision stubbornly. Here, hold on, because here's your vision here. Don't let go of that. Okay. Don't let go of that. And know that Venus, like I said, where's, I need a pen. Venus is here at 24 now, but it's going to start moving forward. And Mercury's going to start moving back, right? And the sun's going to keep going forward. So it won't be long before we have the sun and Venus and Pluto together. And that can be some powerful relationship situations, but it could also be connecting with others who have done before what you're wanting to do, and they can support you and help you with ideas and maybe even just some tangible, support too. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so thinking and reviewing and working towards what you want, even if you don't get it done during this Mercury retrogradation time period, that's okay. It's just the way it is. Sometimes things are so big they take a long time, right? Like it took me months to get it fine-tuned, the process to work. It just put the camera over my table in a solid way. I had to keep trying on different tripods and arms and cameras, and the camera was actually the easy thing. It was how to, I have all these like little, what they're called, rigs, like it's called small rig, to hook the camera up to the arm, and then I learned quickly that you have to have a really solid tripod with weights on it in order to hold everything steady. Right? And then I learned, don't put the tripod up against the table because it could make everything move and wobble around. There are just so many technical issues. And that is, here we go with Uranus and Taurus. We're talking physical, technical things. So there's a nice easy flow for things to get better. This isn't a square. This is a nice easy flow. And we have the nice easy flow here from the spirit world and our ability to visualize what we're wanting, and and the powerful stellium right here in Capricorn. And might as well just go ahead and highlight Pluto in there too, because Pluto's power, Pluto's your power, and it's the power of your communication and your thinking and your hard work, and then your relationships to help you move forward and go in the direction you want to go. So you're going to take some people with you, and some people won't. You know, that's just the way it is, and you're going to find out who your spiritual buds are. So when Mercury goes direct, so notice how we started out with that 24 degrees here. Oops, 24 degrees here. It's going to retrograde all the way back to 8. So now if you're a Capricorn, or wherever 24 degrees to 8 degrees Capricorn lies in your chart, that's going to be the area of life that is the most affected by the Mercury retrograde. So not to worry about it, but it's just because it's such a tangible sign, you're going to want to, and this will be January 18th when it goes direct. It'll be 5:12 a.m. Pacific. But February 7th, 2023, of course, before it gets out of the retro shade. But we have that finger of fate going on that day, to where it all points to, and Mars is no longer retrograde. Mars is direct, 8 to 8. These are very powerful numbers. The South Node is at 10 by then. So we're talking, this opportunity to, again, pick up wisdom from the past and past lives and actually move forward, because Mars is no longer direct. No longer retrograde, it's actually direct. So back up to where it is in your chart, and back to what Mercury retrograde actually means, brings in just thinking about, again, what you want to manifest, who you want to work with, who you want to invest your time with, how you want to do what you need to do. And then when it comes to Mercury retrograde, and especially when we're talking in an earthly sign, and especially when we're talking Taurus and Capricorn, we really need to read the fine print before you sign anything, which we should always do anyway. But it's going to be really important this Mercury retrograde. Don't just, because with Jupiter in Aries, and especially squaring Mercury retrograde when it goes direct, that could be a real problem. Right here. If we have jumped forward impulsively into something without checking it out, this could be a real issue. Because everything between here, so everything between Thursday, December 29th, that is pushing us towards a beautiful opportunity to develop and manifest something. And then by the time it goes direct, January 18th, what we're up against is, have I actually gone in the right direction with the right people? And if you've impulsively not done your due diligence, you could have some trouble. So that's my only warning, I'm thinking, honestly, now that I'm looking at this. Yeah, because those semi-squares are still in there. Neptune has a sesqui-square to the South Node by then. So I think I'll just save this for, of course, for later, and go into it a lot more deeply once Mercury does go direct. But for this week, moving forward into Friday, notice Neptune is still in that sextile to Mercury, because Mercury retrograde has gone back a little bit. So what we started out in the beginning of the week is going to tighten up and get, a little bit stronger. Notice how there's 1 degree of separation. Venus, like I said, is headed towards it is conjunct. I mean, that is a absolute conjunction there, which is beautiful. It's powerful. It's commitment type of energy, and it has to do with people on their spiritual path, or people who are wanting to heal addictions, and they're actually doing the work, going to the meetings, showing up, and you know who your buds are and who you can trust, and you have your support. And with these, okay, so these squares are the same. The moon's in Aries on Friday, so the moon is really clocked past quite a bit. Picked up, went across. So got the lovely holiday energy from Neptune, and then hit Jupiter, and it's like, okay, it's time to think about the new year, and then maybe there was some awareness of some wounding that needed to be healed. And with the moon on the other side now, we're picking up energy between, notice how with Chiron at 11, Eris at 23, and the moon's there in the middle at 15, we've got all three. That's an inconjunct to the past, or a quincunx to the past, but it has to do more, I think, with, because that's 11 to, the south node. This is that inconjunct. Actually, I should have put it in green, but the quincunx should be, it's there all week. But now with the moon, there could be a little bit of impulsivity. You want to be careful about impulsivity, to anger, to moving without thinking. You have to be careful, because if you're connecting into, so there's a few ways this could work out. If you're connecting into some past life wounding, it probably would be related to where somebody pulled the rug out from under you and left you on your own, and there's pain to be felt, and awarenesses to be made about that. Or it could also be that it was the other way around, where somebody betrayed you and you did something to get back at them, and you're aware of that. And there's the key is to become aware of something. I always say, it's good to identify what happened, but not to make it a part of you, because it's really just something that happened. It's more about how we respond. So if you don't respond coming from anger, and instead think about it, then the key is just to forgive and let it go. It doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean that you let that person back in your life at all. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that you don't hold on to the grudge or the resentment because of something that you went through. Because we always have to find our part in it, and our part in it would just be a false belief about ourselves and in life, right? It's just because we've all gone through so much trauma in so many lifetimes. So Venus to Pluto here, that connection, that tight connection, could have us powerfully feeling what we experienced in past lives, but also to use that Jupiter in Aries to, especially after Friday, where we don't have any hard aspects to it, to move forward. And the only one, not the only, the only one for today there, with that semi-square from Jupiter to Uranus, is the action needed to just move past it and move forward. You create your own safety from your safe space within. The outer will always reflect the inner. So if you're safe with yourself, you're going to be safe no matter what happens. I mean, like, if you know who you truly are, I think you know that you never die, right? Your spirit always lives on. At least that's my belief. So, there's different realms or different types of safety in different spheres and realms. Yeah, okay, let's see. Everything else is still the same. The sun has that inconjunct to Mars. Still, was that going on yesterday even? Yeah. Thursday to Friday. Yeah, we still have that inconjunct there. That's interesting. Oh, that's because Mars. Yeah, Mars is still retrograde. That's right. Mars doesn't go. Mars is direct in this chart because it's January 18th. That's right, because I think it goes. Mars goes direct. I'm pretty sure it's January 15th. I'll have to check. I don't have my notes right here. It might be somewhere between the 10th and the 15th, I think. So anywho, but for now, that's interesting. Now I'm thinking about it. So Mars inconjunct Mars quincunx to the Sun. Remember, of course, that creates a need for an adjustment. The adjustment is, so the Sun in Capricorn shines the light as to the adjustment that needs to be made in our ways of thinking and communicating in order to manifest what we want. And what we want is coming from the wisdom of the past. And it's deep and it's powerful. And the Sun is also, on Friday, there's this double trine to the Sun and the North Node in Uranus. So there's breakthrough. There's breakthrough energy here, and we have the aspect of the architect. Wow. So we're talking manifesting from the wisdom of the past. Let's see, is there anything else for this day that's really important? With the moon, we don't have an aspect there yet, but pretty soon the moon is going to get in alignment here with this sextile to Saturn. So the moon in Aries with the sextile to Saturn, that'll be really beautiful for opportunities. And I'm thinking it might be like group consciousness. There's a possibility where you connect with a group that helps you. The Sun has a semi-square there to Saturn, okay? So right there's that need to be really clear about what you want before you connect with another, group or a few people or even just another person. There's that need to, the action needs to be taken, but you have to be clear about what you want. Oh, that's why we have, yeah, and it's clear in the realm of communication. So we have to get our thinking clear, of course, before we start talking. That'd be really good advice for me, wouldn't it? And then we have the two sesquisquares up to Venus and Pluto to Mars. So there's a lot going on with Mars, right? Like, see the two sesquisquares there. Okay, so let's tune into these two for a second, and then we'll move to Saturday. So powerful, deep, passionate, but more in the realm of being very grounded and going towards what you want because it's something you want to manifest. And then there's a stubborn hanging in there to some old ideas that might need to be let go of. But on another level, it could be, again, that energy of we want quiet time to go in the right direction and figure out what we want to do next year. And we don't want any background noise. So I don't see it as being one of those New Year's Eves that's like, a lot of noise. It looks to me like you guys are wanting things more quiet. But let me know how you feel about that. Okay, so then Saturday, 6 a.m., you can see Mercury still retrograde. The Sun's clocking 1 degree closer. Mercury's going back. So they're coming, the Sun and Mercury coming together more. and Venus and Pluto are still there. So it's kind of like we have it's not kind of like, it is. We have a little bit of a separation going on. So these two are coming together, and these two are coming together. But they're moving apart, right? If you catch my drift there. And the moon is at 28 degrees Aries, and it now has the square going up to, oh wait, 28 degrees, okay, hold on. Yeah, to Capricorn, so this is where it gets tricky. So Eris is squaring Capricorn, for sure, and has been and will be for quite some time. But now it's involving the moon. Because you can see Pluto is at 27, the moon's at 28. Those are exact squares. Or within a degree. So Pluto to the moon is powerful. The moon, yeah, this could be, just be very careful about being, you guys, it's my Cancer mom energy over here that wants to say, just stay home. Just stay home, because it doesn't look safe to me. It looks like impulsive energy. It looks like ramped up, angry energy, possibly. And then bumping up against, it could be the man. And we have, even though it's the sextile here to Saturn, right? Because Eris is in that sextile to Saturn, but the moon has been picking up speed. And as the day, but then again, this is early in the morning. It could be arguments about whether to go out or not, but as the moon moves towards, so the moon will be in Taurus before, midnight, right? January 1st. And I didn't run that chart. But I'll have that uploaded next Thursday, even before this happens, so don't even worry about it. But I'm feeling like for now, the important thing is that the moon, there could be arguments and power plays about, do we go out, do we not, what do we do? Maybe it's just the challenges as to how you want to boldly go forth into the new year with your life, or in your thinking about things like that. And then as the moon continues to move this way throughout the day, because 28 degrees, we're almost there. It's only one more degree when we go 0 to 29. And then it moves into Taurus. And Taurus wants safety and comfort above all, right? How much will it cost? What will I have to do? Do I want to do it? Maybe I don't. Maybe I'd rather go get a massage this day. And then, I don't know. Maybe it's about cooking some yummy food rather than going out partying. Maybe it's about planning your own little celebration. I mean, we do have Jupiter in Aries. That's very celebratory. Neptune and Pisces can be so much fun when it comes to, and especially because Mercury is still in that sextile. That can be so much fun right here when it comes to talking and having fun with people that you love, people that you feel safe with, right? And we do have that aspect of the architect going on between the Sun, North Node, Uranus. That's still, right? That's still in effect. That's beautiful energy to take into the new year. Let's see, 9 degrees, 9 to 11 to, yeah, this right here. So what I was talking about yesterday, or 4 yesterdays, this is going to be happening because the sun will move 1 degree a day, and the south node's going to sit there, and the south node's going to sit there, or north node's going to sit there. And the sun is going to stay in this energy of trining Uranus, but this aspect of the architect we're going to have for a few days between the sun, the wisdom of the past with the south node in Aquarius, south node in Scorpio, and the north node in Uranus and the north node in Taurus. Makes me think Aquarius. So thinking outside the box in ways that, to create more abundance, personal abundance for yourself. And I'm thinking ideas from the past, like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that before. I could do it in a different way now. That kind of a thing, right? Let's see. So the sun still has the inconjunct there. Chiron still has the inconjunct to the south node. Do I see anything else to talk about? I guess overall, in the overall summary, and I'm sorry I've got like a mess on this piece of paper here, but what I can say for sure is that the sun, the spotlight, the light coming through, will be shining more light into all the wonderful ideas that could come through as to how we can negotiate with others, how we could link up with others, how we can analyze the best way to move forward. Because remember, Mercury's moving this way and the sun's moving this way. So as the days progress ahead, beyond Saturday the 31st, as the days progress into the new year, there's more and more of the sun conjunct Mercury. And, because they do travel together quite often. Mercury never goes too far away from the sun. It just doesn't. It's part of that orbit. So with Mercury retrograding every day and the sun moving forward every day closer, it's going to be more and more and more negotiating, tracking the patterns, figuring out what works and what doesn't, and what doesn't will be revealed through the moon moving towards the North Node and Uranus as the days go by as well. So we're going to have some power from the moon that will help us understand deeper, because the moon is very intuitive, and in Taurus it brings in, principles of what you really want, figuring out what you want, and it's because there's a certain code of ethics and principles that you live by. And for people who have been, so I just have to say, dirty politicians, or people who've been involved in money and sex scandals, like what's his name, Harvey Weinstein, and others, things are not going to be good for people like that. We're talking, reversals of fortune here when Taurus is involved with Uranus for some people. Yeah. So, but for us, I think the important to focus in here with focus in on, has to do with the light coming through, so illuminating from the inside of you the direction you want to go and what you want to accomplish, what you want to actually experience and have and hold as you move forward into your life. And then the sun is over here on the other side, giving you, the outer experience, or the outer light is coming through. So it's the inner meeting the outer, and then also connecting with the wisdom of the past to help you dig your heels in and go towards what you want to experience. So I think it looks like everything is there for us as usual for creating the future, but I don't see the roadblocks like we've had in the past. We don't have the Saturn square Uranus anymore. We do have some of the planets that have gone direct from retrograde that are still not out of the shadow, like Pluto, Neptune, and Jupiter. They're still in the retro shadow, but I think that by the end of the year and moving into the first week of January, you're going to start feeling so much better, bigger, bolder, better. Yeah. So, and everything else looks to me about the same. we do have that little or sesquisquare there to Mars, Mercury to Mars and the Sun. Again, the only thing I can say about that really makes any sense to me is that this is just, we don't want any more noise. We want to focus inward and focus on what we want to manifest. And this other noise, we're going to have very little patience for the news if they're just going to keep saying the same things, or if you're, if you someone that has someone in your family that tunes into Fox News on a daily basis, you're probably going to at some point blow your top and say, we can't. Not when I'm home, that channel is not on. Something like that, And I'm just that's just one idea of the way the energy could be. And just remember this quincunx here, this Chiron, in conjunct quincunx, however you want to say it, to the south node. Just think, moving through your wounding to your greatest gifts, which has to do with your courage and your presence in your own body and knowing that you matter. And then the adjustment to the past and your power with whomever is in relationship with you about that. And the inconjunct Mars here, the same, all of that to the Sun. All of this to me spells, and this is in effect. Okay, this one, I'll have to check to see how long. This one won't last because the Sun's going to move forward. But this one is in effect until January 9th. I did look up ahead of time before this is out of orb. So we've got quite some time to be making that adjustment that's needed to the past. Forgive, let go, doesn't mean you forget. It just means you let go and you don't hold the grudge and you move forward. But it's all about you being your person. You have your own path, right? You're the one that walks your own path. You're the one that knows how to create win-win situations, and we all are moving forward. So, okay, well, I think I'm done with that. I'm going to say, as always, take good care, stay safe. And I'll be back soon before the new year. So, but meanwhile, have the merriest of Christmas and Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, happiest of holidays, and I'll be back soon. Bye.